all. I was struck again as I was setting up this course at how fast this course moves. So please know that we push really hard, but we're done very quickly. And I think once you get into a rhythm in your accommodating this course into your personal life and structure, it should work out for you. It has in the past. Others have gotten through it, and I've heard that from other students that they find that there's a pretty big push at the beginning and then it eases up a little bit at the end, and they liked that balance, they said. So hopefully you'll find the same thing to be true. I want to look at the syllabus today, just to sort of remind you of where we're going for the week and what's going on. I will always try to have these videos posted before the end of the week, so in case you do have a turbo week and you can really work ahead, that you're able to do that, this video is available to you. We are on the week October 20th through 26th, and we're jumping into our first paper, which is a summary response. Here's how we're going to get there. Well, first of all, I purposely kind of mark which readings that, again, are more resource readings. Skim through them, know that they're there, use them as you need them, but there's no like particular testing over these readings, okay? Secondly, then you're going to do, I call this like the pre-writing stage of writing. You're going to do the reading, and it's all in the Hirschberger text. That's why the H is there. The authors are Bryson, Lurie, Coffer, Grandin, Huxley, and Reichel. And each of these authors comes from a different perspective, has a totally different topic, and you're going to be responding to them in the discussion board. I don't create specific discussion prompts. I'm just asking that you somehow relate to the topic and think of them think of everything you do for writing in here as a they say, I say type scenario. So what does Bryson say and what do you say in response to that? What does Coffer say that they are saying? And what do you say to what Coffer is saying? I mean, it can go deep, right? All arguments are based on this simple structure. They say and I say. Now, your I say could be and I agree. It could be and I disagree, or it could be I agree with exception. And I agree with exception example might be, while I see what Coffer is saying, I feel like she misses, and you fill in what it is, and that's your argument. Or I could not agree more with Huxley, and I would add that, or the reason I agree is, okay, these are the types of arguments we're working on. So what your discussion board is just a casual, informal response, but it is setting the stage for the paper. And the paper that you're going to be writing this week, all papers have the same structure and page numbers and that kind of thing until we get to the last paper. I'm scrolling back up here, not trying to make you dizzy. This is the lowdown on the papers. This is page 3 of your syllabus, 3 to 4 pages long, MLA format, and the last paper will be the big one. But that's actually when students say they feel like their class slows down a little bit. So just be aware that, we do back-to-back papers and then we come up for air around Thanksgiving time, okay? Back to what I was mentioning then with the summary response, you're going to have read and informally discussed, which is going to end up giving you the momentum, hopefully, to go into your rough draft. And the rough draft is going to be taking one of these essays, just one, and turning it into a summary response paper where you're summarizing the argument, what are they saying, and then what are you saying. There's different ways to organize this. You could, within the same paragraph, have a topic of what the author says and then what you say, or you might do all of the author's summary and then all of your response. The idea here is to keep a balance. Should not be more summary than response or vice versa. I also suggest that when you write your thesis statement for this paper and your introduction, that you mention the author and the title of the work somewhere in the introduction, if not the thesis statement. Again, if you need a little help on that thesis writing, we have this up here. There's also some really good tools out online that are free tools, and I'm going to share one with you before we end this little video session so that you can see what I'm talking about. But that would be another way to write a thesis statement. But the other resource is, if you look back to the reflection activity from last week, Each one of those statements are created to be an argument, and you can imitate those structures as well if getting the words to go in the right places is frustrating. Okay, so we're going to post that rough draft, and let's aim to have rough drafts posted um, by before the weekend. I think that'd be safe to say, so that we can get some good responses. That's the tricky thing of this condensed class, is if you post your rough draft at the last second, it's not going to get any hits. And everybody needs to, in order to complete their work this week, they have to have somebody to edit. So for your peer edit, if we could maybe aim for even Thursday at midnight, that would be ideal. I'm not going to set that as set in stone, and I don't want anybody to email me and say, I'm so sorry, I can't make Thursday at midnight. This is just speaking ideally. This is an online class, it's meant to be flexible. I'm just saying, in an ideal world, if you could have the readings done Monday, Tuesday, discussion board done Wednesday, your rough draft on Thursday, and your final draft then whenever you get it turned in, because it only affects you by Sunday at midnight, of course. That would be a way to think through this course. Okay, so back to this peer edit business. You don't have to post your whole rough draft. Part of it's fine. And then your ask is, when you're posting it, you're asking for feedback. In order to get peer editing credit from my course, I'd like you to copy and paste everything, all your interactions. I don't really care. I mean, I care about people editing your work, but I'm not keeping you accountable to anybody editing your work. I'm only keeping you accountable to what you put out. So if you copy and paste that and just put it right into the Dropbox, you don't have to put it on a Word document unless you really love Word documents. Okay, and then for the final draft, this is an assignment only. This does not come to the discussion board first. This comes straight to me, and I would like that as a Word document. And in the classroom, you'll notice that on the final day of for the final draft, I do like to have a feedback form, and if you could either put that on the actual draft or as part as your Dropbox, feedback. I'll show you that in a moment. Okay, before I get any further, I want to show you that tool that I was talking about. It's an outline and thesis generator, and I'll recognize it when I see it. Okay, it's under Nail That Paper, which I think is a funny website name. And it's called Thesis Builder and Online Outliner. And it's not foolproof. There is no silver bullet, but I love that it allows you to put your ideas. You click a button and it gives you several different options for how you might word your thesis, and you click another button and it gives you several options for how to organize your work. So as long as you give it good information here, you can get a pretty good product. I've used this with several different students and they've really enjoyed it. So hopefully if you're stuck on thesis and stuck on outline, this is not something you have to do, it's just an option. Okay, let's go ahead and head back into the classroom. Oops. That's not it. Okay, maybe I can't find us. Where are we at? Where'd we go? Maybe I exited out of the classroom. Well, let's try this again. Okay, back in the classroom now. On week 2 here, this will give you an overview of everything we just talked about, just to see it in a different form with a little bit more detail. I'm not going to open it up right now, but please understand that this is sort of a lengthy document, but this walks you through everything I just said with a little bit more detail. And basically, here's the writing prompt that we just walked through, and you'll notice that it's a general prompt, and this gives you some ideas of what I'm trying to do with that prompt. And then this is the first assignment where I'm asking you to do discussion board. And then this is some ways of organizing and planning your thesis, planning your support for your paper for the drafting part. And then some suggestions for revising and editing. And then publishing, this is the feedback form I was speaking of. If you could copy and paste it so that the chart shows up for me to refer to, that really is helpful. And again, you can do that as a Word document or directly into the box. I think that is all I have to show you in the classroom right now, but if you have any questions, please give a shout. And I know it's turbo mode this week. We're going to do 3 back-to-back crazy weeks, and then we're going to let up for the holiday season a bit as we work on our research paper and have more time to really dig in and develop that one to be longer and have more research involved. Again, please don't worry about please don't use any outside sources, only one source from your readings. And if you have any questions, let me know.